This is Season 2 of the Books as Bad as Twilight podcast,
where we're reading Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by Jack Thorne.
Visit us at our website, www.babatpodcast.com.
Get lost with us in the magical world of Harry Potter.
Nah!
Season 2.
Just slam it down.
I'm moving with purpose, Danielle.
Oh, that's right. That's right, you are. I forgot about that. Sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So what are we doing today?
Well, today... Well, first of all...
What?
Welcome, everyone.
Oh.
To our two Books as Bad as Twilight.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
My name is Danielle.
And I'm Brittany.
And today we were talking about The Cursed Child. Act 1.
Act 1, Scene 10.
Through, actually the rest of Act 1, so I think it's through Scene 19.
Correct.
So, yes, we're talking about The Cursed Child. So, in advance, we just want to let you all know that, we're going to be spoiling the rest of Act 1 of Cursed Child.
Mm-hmm.
So be warned about that.
So if you haven't read it or read it, we suggest you do so.
Please.
Read it or read it? I meant...
I was just going to let it slide.
If you haven't read it or seen it...
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay.
God damn it.
It's okay. Our brains are muddled because
that is so weird. Sorry, go ahead.
The brain works in funny ways.
Yeah, but I don't know why I said read it and read it.
I literally so when I write, a lot of times the way I think, I guess I think faster than I write.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll write out a word and then I'll go to the next word, but say the word ends with S and the next word starts with an S.
Mm-hmm.
I write so fast that I won't start the word with an S because I ended with an S.
Uh-huh.
So I'll just kind of write these words and I'm like, wait. Oh, right.
There's something missing here.
Yeah, or even lately I've been writing, because I'm really into the video game Kingdom Hearts, so I was writing down KH for just initials.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I would write it, I would write the H first. And I'd be like, why? Why didn't I write the K?
Hearts of Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh.
Hearts of the Kingdom.
Hearts of the Kingdom. Yeah, so our brains are weird. Brains are weird.
Well, I don't know if I read somewhere or it was a TED Talk or something. I don't remember. So don't quote me on that part. But apparently our brains aren't connected to read words.
Yes.
Did I tell you this?
I feel like you did, but I don't know.
So we see everything in pictures.
Yeah.
Which is why a word could be all scrambled up and you still know what it is. Because our brains aren't made in a way to actually have a written language. It's supposed to be spoken.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So writing is relatively new.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It only goes probably even hieroglyphics. They did it all in pictures.
Right.
When did actual writing start?
I don't know. I mean, I mean obviously with the printing press it got popularized, but it was way before that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think that's very interesting because before all that, we were told stories through pictures.
Yeah.
Through cave paintings, hieroglyphics, stuff like that. It wasn't a physical written word.
Right. Just telling stories to one another too, around a campfire or something, and not writing it down just from memory.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Very interesting.
That was, I read a book one time, which I would highly recommend. Mm-hmm. And you can get it on audible.com.
I was just about to ask.
Yes, using our free trial code URL, audibletrial.com/BaBaT. Mm-hmm. And the book I'm going to recommend, and we'll talk about this more also later in the pod, but is The Shallows.
Shallows.
Forget the author name, but I'll put it in the show notes. It's about technology and how technology is making us
dumb.
Kind of more shallow about things.
Oh.
But when I read that book, I remember I came to it very cynical about technology. I didn't have a smartphone yet. I mean, I had a BlackBerry, but they are not really smartphones.
Throwback.
Yeah, they're this was, I'm trying to think, maybe 2011.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah,
that.
so the iPhone was pretty popular, but I didn't have one yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I came to the book thinking it was going to throw technology under the bus, but actually it just changed. The reason it's my favorite book is because it really changed the way I think about everything. It talked about technology and how writing itself is a form of technology.
Yeah.
How paper is technology, how the printing press was technology because it spread words around to people. It just
Really? So that's a very different viewpoint than how you say it.
Right, you
like
think
you approach that book thinking it's going to tear down.
Well, and it doesn't tear it down, but it does make the argument like, well,
we're not using it the best ways.
Yeah, like it's kind of saying like the spread of ideas is a very intellectual thing, but it's also saying that like there's so I forget, I should probably reread it because it's been a while, but
or re-listen
to it. Audible.com.
30-day free trial.
And a free audiobook. The Shallows by author name because I don't remember it.
Click the link in our show notes.
Yes, please. audibletrial.com/BaBaT. All right, let's continue.
But anyways.
So, where can they find us, Brittany?
Oh, I interrupted you when you were talking about The Shallows.
No, we'll talk more about it. Yeah.
Okay. They could find us on Facebook. We have both a group and a page. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Goodreads, and we also have a website. Which is BaBaT podcast.com. BaBaT or BaBaT or BaBaT.
There you go.
Did you see the poll?
I did see the poll. I voted on the poll.
It's like split.
Not anymore. It's you. So BaBaT is 57%. BaBaT is 43%.
More people voted?
I know. It's
Last time I saw it, it was like 6 on one and 5 on the other. So more people must have voted again.
Maybe, I guess so.
I
forget. When I had first looked at it, it was 60-40, and then I came back to it and it was 50-50, and now it's 65 or whatever it is. But yeah, it's cool.
Thank you for voting, guys.
Yeah.
We feel very special. Did you like my gifts?
I did. I loved them. Honestly, I was cracking up.
I could not find a good one for BaBaT that wasn't a cartoon. I was like, yes, this one.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. But, I love GIFs or GIFs. However you say it.
Don't you dare call it GIFs.
I say GIF.
It's graphic.
I say GIF. I've always said GIF.
I am ending this friendship.
Sorry.
It's graphics.
Honestly, more people I know say GIF, and it's a new thing where people say GIF, like that I've noticed. I promise.
You're shitting me because you are the first person I ever met to call it
Really?
GIF. Yes.
Oh, yes! I did. Sometimes I think about the correct term or linguistically saying it. And so I know it's probably GIF. I mean, it is GIF.
It is GIF.
But
the creator said it's GIF.
Right. But at the same time, I just don't care. I call it GIF and I call it GIF, So I don't know why. Just again, our brains are weird.
It's not peanut butter.
You don't know that, okay? Have you ever seen a GIF with a GIF peanut butter jar in the GIF?
I've seen a GIF GIF. Not a GIF GIF.
How dare you? It's like, wow, I can never look at you the same way again. It's like you just actually leave.
You've tainted my view of you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I know.
Forgive you this time.
Thank you, Brittany. Honestly, you forgive me so often that I wonder when the day will come when you'll be like, nope, that's it.
I'm a forgiving soul.
You are, Brittany. You are. It's like one day it's like, nope, that's it. You say GIF, I'm out of here.
Done.
Just can't do it anymore. Look, if you want me to say GIF, I'll say GIF.
No, it's all right. Do what you want. It's a free country.
I mean, I'll just put it this way. I just don't care, right? So if you want me to say GIF, I can do it,
You can say GIF. That's what your
That's what I'm used to.
What is it? Your connectors, what are they called? In your brain?
Cortex, neural, whatever. I don't know.
Sorry. You said that with complete sincerity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's your neurological connect things.
I know there's a neurological cortex or something, but I didn't do well in health class.
That sounds like something from a video game.
I do play a lot of video games.
It reminds me of, what is it? From Crash Bandicoot, the Mad Scientist.
I've never played Crash Bandicoot.
You never played Crash Bandicoot? Were
no.
you a Nintendo?
Well, I was a Nintendo kid,
okay,
so yeah. PlayStation. I actually, for the longest time, when my brother because we had a GameCube and the PlayStation 2 was out at the time. My brother really wanted one. And I was like, I don't want it. Like, it has the X's and the O's and the squares. I don't like it. No, I don't want it. But we ended up getting it, and I changed my life. So,
PlayStation?
I love PlayStation, but I still love Nintendo. But I love
We
my
were a
PlayStation.
PlayStation house.
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually, looking at, like, different people and the games they grew up with. Because, like, Spyro, I always wanted to play that when I was younger.
Spiral.
Never played it.
They're remaking it.
I know. I was just about to say that.
I'm like on the verge of constantly burping, and I don't know why.
Do it. Just do
It
it.
just goes away. It's gone. But anyway.
Oh, doesn't that suck?
Yeah. I
know-
want to belch.
Don't you hate when it's belching and sneezing? Like when you feel a sneeze. Like the other day I was at work, my allergies were just really bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I could feel a sneeze. So I just stopped working and I'm sitting there and
You're
I'm just like,
contemplating life.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, okay. Like, just looking around. And then it didn't come to me. And I'm like, damn it.
What do I want to do?
Yeah, like it's just the worst feeling. Like,
Ugh.
sneeze. Come on, you can do it.
It's okay.
So, I know. I have a hard time. Okay. All right. I guess we should discuss this
probably.
book now.
So, what? We're doing all the rest of Act 1.
Yeah, we're finishing up Act 1. It's not a slow read. This is a very quick read. You could honestly read this whole entire book in a sitting.
Oh, yeah. Like today I read our one whole segment that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah,
So.
I read it this morning because, I'm a good podcaster. So, it's all good.
I'm trying to figure out what my one sentence summary is.
Before you do that, can I show you my bookmark that I made when the Harry Potter movies were coming out? The last ones.
You made this?
I took the calendar and I made it into a bookmark.
You're so cute.
Isn't it amazing?
Is this just different parts of the calendar? Yeah, it is. Look at that.
Yeah, so that was like the samples that they have in the back of the calendar.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Do you
Thank
have
you.
a laminator?
No, that is packaging tape. Yes.
Good job, Danielle.
The innovation is...
So proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I figured I'd use it for this.
In honor.
Yeah, in honor of what once was. All right. So, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So the one chapter summary is the trolley witch and being forever invisible. Sad.
Interesting.
This is going to be the weirdest chapter.
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
is that this
Well,
chapter?
actually, is it? No, it's the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the next one. But we're getting there.
We're getting there. So we start off on the Hogwarts Express. What year is this for young Albus?
This is his 4th year.
His 4th year.
Yeah.
So he's entering onto the train, and Rose is being all very kind to him when she's ignored him previously. So that's interesting. It's an interesting development.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about the time turner.
Yes, because Rose overheard, was it Ron, I guess? Talking about it.
I don't know.
Actually, have you heard the rumors? Your dad was incredibly brave. So it must have been Ron
maybe
talking about it. Because how else is she going to know about it?
Right, very true. Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of weird, though, that she's like, she wants to be friends again. They're talking about the time turner.
Yeah, why does she want to be friends?
I don't know. It kind of comes out of the blue. But I guess...
It's just to... Oh, is this when they're putting on their act?
That's what I thought, too. But I think they're actually on the train now. Like, nobody can see them. Right?
Yeah, she just says, I want us to be friends again.
Yeah,
we were never friends. That's harsh. You were my best friend when I was 6.
Aww. Yeah. I don't care about Rose that much.
I don't care about any of these characters except Scorpius.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with that.
And it's such a shame because, like, I love Ron. I love the trio. Oh, I actually could do without Harry. But I love most people in the original story.
Yeah.
But I don't care at all for them.
You can tell they're trying to recreate a new trio. Mm-hmm. Though it's interesting, like, I wonder, like, this book, obviously we introduced Delphi later with them. But now we have Rose. So I wonder, like, who the trio would be considered. I'm assuming it would be Rose, Albus, and Scorpius.
I don't think that they're trying to recreate a trio.
No?
Because of how much they're pushing the Scorpius Albus relationship.
Yeah, they definitely have that. That's true. I guess, like, maybe they're not putting a trio, but it's, like, hard, like, I guess, like, as readers, we just,
we want to see it.
Yeah,
so
you're right, yeah.
I think there's, like, a mild attempt. It wasn't intentional, but kind of just the way the story goes.
Yeah, kind of like
a third character comes in.
Right, gotcha. Yeah, that's true.
That's how I see it.
Yeah,
personally.
definitely. Yeah.
Well, actually, no, they do, because later on you see a relationship developing between Delphi and Albus.
Okay, we're gonna get there. That is,
I just got to put a pin in that because there's a lot to say.
Yeah, there is a lot to say about that. We will definitely get to that.
Gross.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this scene specifically, we learn that this is how Albus finds out that his dad found a time turner.
Yeah.
You know, on the train to Hogwarts. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I need to find Scorpius. Like, this is it. This is the way we could save Cedric.
Yeah, he's all up about that because he has this, I get like he has this angst with his dad, but he has this like out to like go completely against his father.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the logic behind that, which I guess, I mean, that isn't a motive that I would say is wrong.
It's interesting because you never see that once in the entire Harry Potter series.
What?
There's never been a character besides Tom Riddle who went completely against their fathers.
Oh, that is interesting.
And Sirius Black.
Yeah. That's actually a really good comparison, saying Voldemort and Sirius Black.
Mm. But there hasn't been.
Yeah.
Malfoy wasn't. Harry wasn't because he never knew his father.
Right.
Weasley's definitely not. Remus
I mean,
was
Percy kind of, but he comes back.
He wasn't doing it to be vindictive.
That's true. Yeah, not to be vindictive.
Percy did it because he wanted to further his career because he didn't want to be poor like his whole family was.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and
he was always very aspirational toward that.
There hasn't. There's the only one is Tom.
Right.
So it's just interesting.
It's interesting to compare that with Albus as well, being that he is in Slytherin, and the fact like that maybe he does have more of Harry in him than he realizes, because obviously Harry had a lot of connections to Tom Riddle. So
and he was given the choice,
right,
to go into Slytherin or Gryffindor.
Right. So yeah, that's a really good observation.
It just honestly came to me right now.
It's interesting, like how there's a lot of times in this podcast where we'll be talking and all of a sudden something will just pop into my head. It's interesting how that works.
Yeah,
it's like
weird.
a little note. Yeah. But yeah, so Albus starts talking to Scorpius, and Rose actually comes with.
Yes. To their cabin.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to talk to Albus the entire way.
Yeah, that's right. And Scorpius, I love this line. He says, "And now you found me. Ta-da!"
He's so cute.
He really is. I love Scorpius.
I love Scorpius. And he's like, "What do you smell of bread?"
Yeah.
Like, no, it's a good thing. It's freshly baked bread.
Yeah. Oh, Scorpius, you awkward little nugget.
Poor boy.
But I love that it's giving him a characteristic, like character outside of this Malfoy name.
Agreed.
Yeah, I really like that. But let's be honest, whenever I thought about this, like just thinking about this in fan fiction terms, I used to always think, how else would you go about it? Like, of course I would want to see a character go in an opposite direction. I don't know if that's something that's...
I feel that Scorpius is if Draco didn't have such strong ties with Voldemort. I think that's who Scorpius is, because that's how Draco is raising Scorpius.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So this is how I always envisioned Draco if he wasn't from a pure blood family.
I was gonna say, I think Draco, I don't necessarily think this would be a wrong reading of Harry Potter, but like there's a very nuanced way you can approach the Harry Potter books in terms of Draco.
Yeah.
But I think the text does not support that all the time. Like just the way it's written and like, oh, Slytherin bad, like Draco bad. But I think that
it's on the perspective of the main character though.
Right.
So
yeah, well, but sort of. But in the first book, Dumbledore awards all these points to Gryffindor.
Dumbledore's a dick. I never liked Dumbledore.
Yeah, I used to, but the more I read the books, the more I don't like him. But I think as you get to the later books, there's more gray area.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can return to the books and read it more gray. But I think the earlier books present it very black and white.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I think that you're right. If Draco wasn't Slytherin or raised the way he was, perhaps he would have been like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thing to think about. Because Draco, I love Draco as a character. So that was our analysis on Scorpius Malfoy.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So there's been a very big discussion about Scorpius and Albus.
Oh, that they're gay?
Yeah. And I think this is something we maybe won't talk about right now, but I think it's important to point out certain things as we're going along. And maybe at the end of it we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of queer baiting and what that means.
Yeah. I heard that about this.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this play kind of goes back and forth. And again, I really don't want to have a huge discussion on it because I think once we have it in total, we can better discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
But like right here,
have we ever hugged before? That one?
is that it? I'm trying to see.
Act 1, Scene 4. That's what she says about.
Oh wow, that's way earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Go on.
So let me see. Yeah, Albus hugs his friend with fierceness. They hold for a beat. Scorpius surprised by this. And they talk like you said, have we ever hugged before? And it honestly reads to me like a cliche you would see in like a romantic comedy or something. Or
Well, I don't know, because I know men that act like this and they're straight.
well, right, that's
Yeah.
something that we can have our conversation
Okay.
about. Yeah. Because it's hard to see,
Yeah.
but
They're
it just
14.
yeah, I was gonna say it
So
just
I see it.
well, I wouldn't put it past though. Because you know, how many books have you read where kids at the age of 14 are put in situations where it's like they hug and it's like,
the huge romantic interest.
Yeah, I mean, that happens so often, even in literature that I love, and I read it and I'm like, are you
I
kidding
don't know
me?
about you, but when I was 14, I did not care. I had like really like cropped short hair, braces. I probably got my period for the first time.
Well,
at
you were
14.
a normal child.
Yeah, like I didn't care about anyone.
Well, stories, yeah, unfortunately, stories.
Well, they had to develop the character early, but I don't know why they had to make him 14.
Right.
I don't know. I guess I didn't have my sexual awakening yet at 14, so there was no reason for me to have those awkward feelings.
Right.
Because if you don't have those, if you haven't had your sexual awakening yet and you hug someone, it's literally just a hug. You won't feel awkward. The awkwardness comes from the expectation.
Right. I was going to say, so I don't feel any of that expectation, but I think the trope of it is in here. And I sense the trope more than the expectation.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we'll leave it at that for now.
That's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
So yeah, I just noted the quote unquote queer baiting just a little bit, but also like it's okay for guys to hug.
Yeah. I really want to push the fact that is perfectly okay for guys to hug.
Yeah, like, and that's why it's hard to have this conversation now because I think once we are at the end of this, there'll be so much to say that we can legitimately comment on.
And it's perfectly okay with people of opposite sex to sleep in the same bed and it not be romantic.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So-
God. People are just bodies. Like, who cares?
Well, that's another romantic trope when like, and it's a one that people poke fun at where like two guys will be in the same bed together and it's like awkward. And I'm like, I feel like it's just you're sleeping in a bed and you can just ignore each other.
How come women can sleep in the bed together all the time and not have the sexual tension as to men sleeping in the same? Like,
well, if the movie's made by a guy, then there will be sexual tension
That's
between
true.
the women, or they'll be like, oh, they're sleeping in the same bed together. Oh, what? Anyway,
I know.
Yeah.
I get very fired up about stuff like this.
so do I, and we will for sure talk about it because it's So, on page 52, one thing that stood out to me, and I don't know if I guess I kind of get this, but like the train just started moving and Albus is like, we need to jump off the train. We need to get off this train.
Yes.
And then we have this beat where the trolley witch comes and asks them if they want anything from the trolley.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, let's just jump off. They kind of don't acknowledge her. And my question is, why not wait until she walks away? Like, are they that... I'm just wondering based on the next scene.
I think it's just because this is a very narrow, and that was could be my question. Why is, plays, do they have to be this dramatic?
No, I don't think so.
Because it feels like everything is tenfold more dramatic than it has to be.
I think visual mediums, like for my example that I can think of at the top of my head, is again in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, when they're in Gringotts and they go to Vault 715 or whatever, and they open the door and that dramatic music plays.
Yeah.
And I remember even as a child being bothered by that scene because of like the drama. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like it's a stone. Like I know it's important, but my God, like the music, this is uncalled for. I think movies and visual stuff just tend to be more dramatic. Yeah. I'm not forgiving it though. But people I think would argue that that's just how it is.
Because it has to pull you into it.
Yeah, like they want to give you like...
They want you to make you feel what this person is feeling.
Right.
Because Harry's still new to the whole like wizarding world. So seeing this great big door and it opening with magic, then he feels
and the
elated.
Significance. Yeah, the significance and all that. So yeah. So I don't know. I'm always in the camp of like, I feel that to me, like that stuff is all extra. The story should be able to stand.
But this isn't a story. This is a play.
Well, a story the play is, I guess, the shell, right? And
that's true.
You know, like it's still a story, but it's not a novel.
Yeah.
But yeah,
this has to be extra though.
It has to. That So
it can't be no basic bitch. It has to be extra.
You know. All these,
I like that one. Good job, Brittany.
pat in the back. Pat in the back. We need the third arm.
Call back to last season.
Oh yeah, call back to last season, which just feels like yesterday. Hey.
Ooh, that was aggressive.
Anyway, just gonna silence my phone. Go ahead, Brittany.
I was gonna say that's why the one sentence summary is forever invisible, because no one acknowledges her while they're talking about the Tri-Wizard tournament and like all these like things on how to get back at your dad.
It's dehumanizing.
Save Cedric. Yeah, like it's like when people don't treat custodians well or civil workers well. Like
don't.
She's this old lady, as far as you know, giving out pastries, pumpkin pastries.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
She's literally watched you grow up for the last 4 years. Every time you enter this damn train.
I was gonna say, like, it's a weird. I don't know. I don't think the play is quite aware of what it's doing, which is fine. But you know, it's just something. It was a little weird to me. And I guess like my other thought was like, oh well, maybe they're still kind of on the platform, so maybe they did. Well, actually, no, they wouldn't be. I guess they want to jump off while the train is moving slower, like before it speeds up.
I guess they don't really specify it because they can't. Well, as soon as it leaves the station, it's going pretty quickly,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so they have this whole conversation in front of the trolley witch about how to bring Cedric back to life and use the time turner and all this type of stuff right in front of the trolley witch. And Scorpius calls out Albus correctly, saying, okay, whatever's holding your brain together seemed to have snapped. So, like, good job, Scorpius. Like, the only reasonable one in all of this.
He really is. My notes here were Albus is being stupid beyond Book 5 climax Harry stupid. Meaning, like, in Book 5, I love Book 5, like it's one of my favorites, but my almost one of my least favorite scenes in all Harry Potter is when he is just so dumb, and gung-ho to go and try to rescue Sirius, and it's just so painful. To read that and just want it to change. And obviously, you know, it won't, but I still, after 7 times, that 8th read, I'll still hope. But yeah, he's just being so... Am I weird? I honestly wonder, like, kids are obviously misguided a lot of times, like, in their emotions. They're not thinking the way you would think as an adult. Maybe not misguided in their emotions, but meaning they're misguided in the things that they'll do because of their emotions.
Yes.
But is this, like, this just seems really dumb to me.
Yes, because you have, like, when a child is all, I can't even call them kids though. They're 14.
Teenager kids, but also, I mean, they're kids.
They're old enough though.
They're old enough to know, exactly.
They're old enough to know when, like, especially in the 5th Harry Potter book, when they're like 15 turning 16, that when someone is like, hey, like, think about this for like 2 seconds. You're about to do something very dangerous. Especially coming from a friend. You take a step back.
Yeah.
I've never once seen or been in a situation where it's just gotten so out of hand so quickly.
Right.
And, like, yeah, there's, like, drama between, like, one person said something to another and it blows up from there. But no one goes on a life-threatening adventure without their friend, like, backing them up or being like, hey, you know, like, let's not jump off this moving train that's probably going around 80 miles an hour. Let's not go and break into the Ministry of Magic and go after Voldemort because you saw a vision who was also interfering with your dreams and your brainscape.
Yeah, it
just doesn't seem logical.
Well, it's weird, too, because, like, obviously we've said this multiple times, they're in their 4th year. So the magic that they know is not that skilled yet. I mean, they're getting there, obviously, but, like, what did they use? I guess the hovering charm, I guess. And it's like, it's just strange. Like, I guess it's personalities. Like, you can't say solidly that nobody would do this because I would never do it, but somebody else might. I just think, like, where's your head? Like, what are you thinking? You honestly think this is a good idea to jump off a moving train, to do this to your family?
It made more sense with Ron and Harry taking the car when they were 12.
Right, I was going to say,
does jumping off a moving train when you're 14.
I was going to say, because when you're 12, they're not thinking like you would think when you're a little older. And then afterward, they're like, oh, that's really dumb.
Didn't we learn anything?
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, again, it fits with their personalities. I guess it fits with Albus. I don't know, feel like
it
we
does
know.
not fit with Scorpius.
Exactly.
Does not fit with him.
I always wonder why. Well, I just wonder why he follows. Because eventually in this
Because they're Slytherins. You don't leave your friends behind.
That's true. I mean, yeah, it's obvious that he'll do anything.
Yeah, but Albus is definitely acting like a fucking Gryffindor right now. And I could say that because I'm a Gryffindor.
Nice.
So, fucking Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But, okay, so they hoist themselves up. Are they like, is this like a bus that they have a hatch on top?
I guess so.
So,
oh no.
Well, they hoist themselves up onto the roof of the Hogwarts Express right in front of the Trolley Witch.
Which, once again, like, if this train was built to take them to Hogwarts, I don't know, you would maybe think that the windows couldn't be opened. Unless...
Oh, you assume that they crawl through the window?
Yeah. Or I guess they crawled through the roof, you were saying? Like,
that's how I'm
like a bus.
Yeah, that's how I'm imagining it. Like a bus. Like through the roof.
You know what? It doesn't really specify, so...
It just says hoists up.
I assumed window, but honestly, maybe it is.
Why didn't they just walk to the end of the car and climb up the ladder that's at the... Or maybe they did. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Stage direction is bad on this part.
I'm so excited to get to later stage direction because some of it is laugh out loud funny. Like, I mean, this is bad here, and it's still bad, but it's great later on. So, I guess, should we move on to scene 11?
Yes, Act 1, Scene 11. It takes place on the roof of the Hogwarts Express. And the one chapter summary is Harry Potter and what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Yeah. So this is probably, I mean, there's a lot of mind-boggling stuff in here. Not in a good way.
Yeah.
Most of the mind-boggling stuff is not in any good way. The Trolley Witch is something else. Do we want to, let's, before we get there, they're on the roof.
Yes.
And, they start to, they're just standing, I guess they're just standing there, they're trying to figure out what to do, and all of a sudden they see the Trolley Witch coming, and...
Can I make one point before we go into that?
Sure.
Albus says, as I calculate it, we should be approaching the...
Oh, viaduct
soon, and then it's a short hike to St. Oswald's. When the fuck did he have time to calculate all of this shit? He just found out about the time turner.
Right.
Literally 5 minutes ago, and he's like, okay, I've mapped out this entire area already. I know where this home for old witches and wizards is, even though I just found out about it 2 nights ago?
It's
3 nights
absurd.
ago?
Yeah. It's absurd.
I mean, like, okay, like, it's a play. You have to make things go quicker. But don't say I calculated the approximation. It was like, we need to get off this train so we can find Oswald's home of old witches and wizards.
Yeah, exactly. How would...
It's just the wording. It's weird.
It is weird. Even, like, I was thinking in my head, like, how is this possible, like, that you know where this is? Like, have you visited this before? Why would you visit it?
No, he hasn't, because he had no idea what it was.
Yeah, exactly. So it just doesn't make any sense. But, you know, and I'm sorry, but I can't... I know we're talking about the difference between a play and a book, but as a story, that's just dumb. Yeah. Like, there are ways to get around that and still make it interesting. But I guess, like, how would he do it? I don't know. Look in a book. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go to Hogwarts and look in a book. I don't know. I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't know, whatever. Or even ask Hermione, say like, oh, hey, you work at the ministry. Do you have a book on this? Why do you ask? I'm just interested. I don't know. Like,
I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
No, I agree. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way as well.
All right, so let's talk about this trolley witch.
I hate this. I'm sorry. I know some people were like, oh man, my mind is blown. I'm like, honestly, this was dumb to me.
I felt really bad for her until stuff went down.
Yeah, she, apparently, the stuff on her trolley, which who knows if it's the same trolley she pushes around, because what she throws at them are weaponized snacks.
These hands have made over 6 million pumpkin pasties.
Oh my god.
I've gotten quite good at them.
You do a really good impression. I like your voice. Yeah. How they... she
transforms them.
Okay, transforms them. And again, it's kind of like...
Into a grenade.
Yeah. Oh my god. And again, that brings up the question. How did she do that? How does that magic work? Did she have a wand in her hand? I know I'm being nitpicky, but it bothers me.
We don't know how the magic in Harry Potter works.
Yeah. So, which by the way, side note, there's a book I have called The Science of Harry Potter. I'm going to read it next month. So, interesting.
Tell me about how that works.
Yeah. So, and then she says, and you won't believe, well, do you want to read that part actually with the chocolate frogs?
Do you want me to say it in my voice?
Yeah.
And you won't believe what I could do with my chocolate frogs. Never, never have I let anyone off this train before they reached their destination. Some have tried. Sirius Black and his cronies, Fred and George Weasley, but they've all failed!
That was amazing. And you know what? It works because this is insane. That was amazing. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Seriously? Well, I mean, it wasn't all caps.
It was. Oh, hold on. Because this train, it doesn't like people getting off it.
So please take your seats.
So please, retake your seats for the remainder of your journey.
Hang on.
You are insane, Grandma. Oh, thank you.
I don't know if
you know this, but I'm a voice actress.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can check out BrittanyHarperson.com.
I wonder if that's a real website. Cool. Yeah, I'm a voice actor and I can't speak. That's how it works, right?
It does. Yeah, exactly. No, you know what? My note here, beyond the trolley lady, is like I love how this book, the whole Harry Potter series really, seems to think that Fred and George Weasley and then James and Sirius are like the only troublemakers that ever existed in the history of Hogwarts.
How about everything Harry and Ron do?
Yeah, like it's just insane where they're like naming these people that we just happen to know, and it's like, I guess no other jokesters ever came to Hogwarts. Okay, like I get it. You know,
literally have a poltergeist.
Yeah.
In the castle.
Peeves, yeah. Oh, come on now. Yeah, it's just, yeah. So, yeah, the trolley witch is something else. She has spiky hands.
She gets spiked hands.
And
her hair wild, her spikes particularly spiky.
God, like I mean,
that is the most amazing sentence ever written.
It is, honestly. And it's literally in this book. It's, oh my God. Yeah, her spike's particularly spiky. God. What does that mean? Like, I learned in school that when you're defining something, you should never use the word itself in the definition. Her spikes are particularly spiky. Like, I know you're not defining anything, but like, spiky, like...
Is it spikes on spikes on spikes?
Yeah.
That's how I imagine it.
Yeah.
It's spikes on spikes on spikes.
Wow.
Kind of like a pine tree.
There you go. She had pine trees for hands. And honestly, I think that's so much cooler.
Each finger is a small pine tree.
I live in the northeast of America. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm from.
In the northeast of America.
That's where I was born. I don't do as good as you. Hey, well, you know.
God. So what does he say? Albus is like, all right, here we go. Too late now. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I don't know.
What is that word?
I actually missed this upon my first read. I have no idea what that is. Molaire? Molaire!
What does molaire mean?
Should we look this up real quick?
Yeah, do that. Because when I read it the first time, I'm like, millionaire? Like,
means to soften in Latin.
Oh, so that was the
oh,
spell.
that's the spell.
That's the spell. How were we supposed to know that?
It's magic. I mean, like, I don't...
I mean, good on them for trying.
Yeah,
but there's no
sure.
swish or flick. Where's his wand?
Yeah, like a stage direction. He waves his wand. I feel like that would have solved everything. All right, I'm throwing shade at you. Play.
Oh, look, Albus or Scorpius says it later on. He goes. He pinches his nose, jumps after Albus, incanting as he goes. Moliere.
Okay. Well, you know.
I mean, okay, if we read a little bit more, we would know.
You know, whatever. So I guess we'll move on to what was that noise?
That was the trolley witch.
Oh my God. She's got into our microphones.
That is such a gross noise. I apologize.
Yeah.
So
Act 1, Scene 12.
Yes, where we go to the Ministry of Magic, the grand meeting room.
Oh man, this is yeah, so this is where Hermione calls the Minister of Magic, Hermione calls everybody together because of Harry's scar hurting. And she later says, I want to point out that she doesn't want to be a Cornelius Fudge. She wants to act on things, so that's why she's doing this, which, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, your one sentence summary.
Oh, no, that's fine. Harry Potter and Old Tropes, which...
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Look at us. We're on the same page.
We are, because literally my... Well, yeah, we'll get to that. But, so she's basically calling everybody to order to ask them, hey, like, there's some weird stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else know of anything weird going on? And Harry kind of gives them, like, a rerun of... Or just a recap, sorry, of things that have been happening. And then McGonagall says something... But, like, it's kind of pointless. Like, she basically says something was stolen at Hogwarts.
Yeah. Potion ingredients.
Yeah. Ooh, which would make... Well, maybe it would make sense.
Did you...
later.
I don't know how far you read.
I only read up to what we'll be discussing today, which is this episode and next episode.
Okay.
Anyway. We'll get to that.
Yeah, because I don't know how that references later unless it...
I mean, I've read it before, so if you know about it, you won't spoil me. But if not, so, then Draco's like, Voldemort is dead. Voldemort is gone. Like, what the hell, guys? Why are you bringing him up? That's what he says.
Yeah, I for some reason I made a note saying, "Does everyone know this now?" ?
What?
Like, right at Draco saying, "Voldemort is dead. Voldemort is gone." Like, I don't know why I put that as a note. Does everyone know this now?
Like, the history of, like, how Voldemort died, like, the Horcruxes?
Oh, probably. Yeah. Like, because... yeah, they are talking about his scar hurting. Harry's scar hurting.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that was only discussed between the Order.
Right.
So then bringing up in front of Draco, and Draco's like, that's stupid. Voldemort's dead. Voldemort is gone. So how does Draco know all of this history about Harry being connected with him and being a Horcrux unless between the time that of the battle and now that all came out?
I've got an answer that I think is the answer for everything that happens that doesn't make sense. Narrative economy. You know, it has to happen.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
I just don't like that because I sit there and go,
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. That was such a personal thing that happened. It was so misconstrued in the papers and stuff about Harry's scar hurting and his nightmares with Rita Skeeter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is this suddenly a thing that they talk about openly in public?
Yeah.
And, like, there are tons of people here and, like, nobody else is commenting on it and saying things. Like, everybody's just okay with this now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
I
dumb.
don't know.
So they start kind of having an argument, all of them really. Harry, because everybody's there. Harry, Hermione, Draco, Ginny.
Professor McGonagall.
Yeah, and Ron.
And
And Draco starts talking about, like, how he wants them to, or wait, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Hang on.
Harry is pursuing this idea of the Dark Mark hurting. And
Okay.
Draco
right.
gets very upset.
That's right, yeah. And Draco's kind of like, you just want your face back in the paper, Potter, that's all you want. And
we find out that Ginny edits the sport pages.
which is something I wanted to comment on. It just made me laugh. So when they're talking about these rumors that are published in the Daily Prophet, Harry's like, none of those rumors came from me. And then Draco's like, really? Doesn't your wife edit the Daily Prophet? And then Ginny steps forward, outraged. The sports pages! Like, that's how I read it. I just think it's funny. Like, doesn't your wife edit the Daily Prophet? The sports pages! How dare you?
How dare you?
It just made me laugh. But yeah,
Oh, she is being accused of being,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just read kind of like, it just
She's
read
a very
like a comedy.
proud
She's a very
woman.
proud sports editor. So, nothing wrong with that, of course. You edit a sports page, don't think I'm making fun of you. It's just how it's written in this play. I just wrote these petty adults. Like, they're all, like, Ron, like, how Ron kind of charges at Draco. It felt like, are we teenagers again?
Yeah. And, like, I put 2 exclamation points by that. So, leading up to that,
Yeah.
Hermione says, Draco, Harry brought this matter to the attention of the ministry, and I, as Minister of Magic, and that is when we first find out that she's the Minister of Magic.
Correct, yeah.
It wasn't mentioned before, just alluded to.
That's right, yeah.
And then Draco says, a vote you only won because you are his friend. And that's when Ron's like, I'm going to smack you in the face.
Right,
In the
yeah.
mouth, sorry. Do you want to smack in the mouth? And I was like, well, that's a little... But honestly, that's the first time I actually saw Ron.
Yeah, I was
in
going to
this
say, that's
play.
probably the most Ron that we've gotten thus far.
Mm-hmm.
It's always something like when I was younger and I would read Harry Potter, I was always like, I'd see them reacting to these things happening to them and I'd be like, guys, come on now. Like,
Yeah.
take a step back. Now that I read it, I'm like, well, actually, I get it now. But at the same time, like, now I'm like, oh, you're adults. Take a step back.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Ron.
Well, it's interesting that Ginny and Ron are both fiery and instant reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's interesting because they are a family and
Yeah,
how
that's true.
that part is written.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think it'd be more Ginny who would say, do you want to smack in the mouth?
I agree.
Then-
Definitely.
Than Ron, because I think Ron would kind of just step in front. Ron does he hit anyone in the book? I don't think so. I don't think he ever gets in a physical altercation like that in the original series. We know.
Yeah, I would have to think about that. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm going through things in my head. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I think he taunts and he talks a lot.
I was going to say, he taunts, he throws spells. I don't think he's ever thrown a punch.
Yeah, and I don't think he even throws that many. He throws the spell once with the slugs. And
He
I think
does
that's
that.
the only time, isn't it?
He does something. I'm trying to remember in the 4th book, but I don't know if that's him or Harry who does it. Like, Draco's
situation?
taunting them or something, but I don't think that's Ron. I think that's Harry.
I think that's Harry.
Yeah.
Because we know
so-
Ginny has an awesome bat.
Yeah, the Bat Bogey. Well, that's, the movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if the books.
I think they said that in the book, too.
They might mention it in the movies. They make it more prominent, I think.
I'm not sure.
Actually, in book 6, they do bring it up,
And we know that Hermione's not afraid to get her knuckles dirty.
Right.
So we see the women actually
throwing it down.
Yeah. So Ron doesn't really do that.
Which is okay. Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah.
I'm saying it's a little out of character for the roles to be reversed in this. And it's
Very
also
true.
interesting because this is written by a man and the original Harry Potter books are written by a woman.
Oh.
Interesting.
That is very interesting.
Reading into it. But
Reading
just
into
wanted to
it.
my 2 cents in.
2 things I want to comment on real quick. 2 things that you just said. One, the author. On Amazon, still, in a lot of places I looked, Jack Thorne is almost always the last author mentioned.
Why?
I don't know, because he is the author.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, J.K. Rowling's not the author, John Tiffany is the director. So why is Jack Thorne...
Is that how normally plays are written?
No.
Like the creditations?
No.
I don't know. Sorry, Jack Thorne.
Yeah, poor Jack Thorne. I mean, you know. But
I'm sure he's not poor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very true.
The sport pages. All right, do we have anything else to say about this scene?
No, I don't.
It's the old tropes.
Yeah, it's just like easy. Like they all just disperse at the same moment because of Draco Malfoy. Like nobody has anything else to say.
I love that he does an impression of Harry.
I know.
Face it, his celebrity impacts upon you all. I don't like that sentence. His celebrity impacts upon you all, and how better to get everyone whispering the Potter name again than my scar's hurting, my scar's hurting.
I love that. Like
so good.
Scar's hurting. We're moving on, right? We don't have anything
Yeah,
else?
and basically Draco also points out that no one is defending Scorpius and everyone's trying to throw him under the bus.
Which, you know, to be fair, is not wrong. I mean, nobody's intentionally trying to do that, but nobody's, sticking up for him. Like,
yeah, poor Scorpius.
Yeah, come on now.
And then Hermione's like, no, everyone stay here. We need a strategy.
Yeah, and everybody's leaving.
Wait, do they know? They don't know that the kids jumped train yet.
Right, yeah, they don't know yet. They don't find out until much later, which...
How long were they missing? That is my question.
At that point, when they find out it's like a day... I mean, so the morning they got in the train, and then they left. So that's when they started missing. McGonagall was not there. She was here. So she writes the letter, I guess, when she gets to Hogwarts. And it gets to them at nighttime. It's like late at night, I think.
That's so strange.
Yeah, I did write that as well. I was a little confused. But anyway, Act 1, Scene 13. What is your 1-sentence summary?
Albus and Scorpius and the Wool Woman? Why did I put Wool Woman?
I guess because that's one of the lines.
Oh, it must be.
Of characters. No, what may be.
Oh, yeah, the Wool Woman.
Yeah, the Wool Woman, whatever the hell that is. Like, I
think she's knitting.
Oh.
Yeah, she's knitting.
Okay. Wow.
So we are in Oswald's home for old witches and wizards.
Can I just read this one stage direction?
I love it.
Okay, let me actually find this I can read directly from it. Hold on. Okay. Walk frames. Okay. Walker frames are conjured into life. Knitting wool is enchanted into chaos, and male nurses are made to dance tango. What?
That is chaos.
First of all, male nurses, not just nurses, male nurses are made to dance tango.
I'm going to read into this. Are you ready?
Please do.
They specify it because they want to enforce on the ridiculousness of the scene.
Okay.
So they make it males doing the tango. As if it's ridiculous for a man to dance.
Of course. Well, it is.
Reading into it.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone who says I can't.
You do it, Brittany.
Yeah. Honestly, it would be equally as chaotic as saying nurses are made to dance the tango. Like,
I know, that's what I just don't understand that weird detail. But
yeah, it's because it's supposed to be emasculating.
Yeah, it's just
man
weird.
Not in control, and they're a nurse.
Oh, crazy! Is his name Gaylord?
Gaylord Fokker.
Exactly. That's exactly. We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah,
I know. So
Makes
I didn't.
me angry.
Me too. And honestly, I don't have anything else to say. I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, it's a very short scene.
Yeah.
There is 5 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, it's not much.
They are looking for Amos Diggory, and the wool woman is like, "And what you boys want to have with that miserable old sod?"
You sound like a angry Southern woman.
I can't do British accents, so they're just all gonna be American.
I love it.
And then Delphi appears. Albus, you came! How wonderful! Come and say hello to Amos. And scene.
And scene. All right.
That literally was it.
Yeah, that's literally it. So, moving on.
Act 1, scene 14.
Yes.
Which could be intertwined with the previous scene, but... So, they come into this room, and we're at the Oswald home, specifically in Amos's room. And they're like, "Oh my God, Amos, my father has a time turner. You were right this whole time. My father's a liar."
Mm-hmm.
Like, all we have to do is steal it, go back into time.
Yep.
And he's like, yes, do that. Do all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Save my son.
Yep. At first, he's kind of hesitant. He's like, "No, I'm not going to do it." But then Delphi's like, "Oh, come on, Uncle. Just do it." And he's like, "Well, if you say so, then okay." And I'm like, wow, that was easy. Get an easy button. That was easy.
Yeah, and also Delphi goes, "I could think of one reason you should trust them, Uncle. They are the only ones volunteering to help." God. Scorpius is not there as a volunteer.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the line he says, when Amos keeps saying no, he's like, Scorpius says, "Come on, mate. If there's one thing we're good at, it's knowing we're not wanted."
Aww.
Which is so sad, but also, like, true. Like, get out of there.
Yeah.
And then Scorpius... so then Amos says, "It's going to be dangerous." Albus, "We know." Scorpius, "Do we?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, nope.
Also, like... This is like the scene with Lacanos when he's talking to Belle, and Belle's like, "We're going to do this." And he's like, "You're going to defeat death?" "Yes. Death, Belle." "Uh-huh. All right." Well, and that's the same thing this.
Yeah,
it's like, "We want to save your son. Go away. We want to help. Are you sure?"
Yeah.
"It's dangerous."
That's true.
"Yes." "What?" "Okay." Like, it just...
Yeah, it's this weird... It's trying to create, like... It's trying to prolong, like, make the scene longer.
Mm-hmm.
Prolong it. Have some kind of conflict to make it interesting. Like, of course, Amos would say no, even though, all things considered, he probably would say yes right when somebody tried to help him.
Yeah.
So...
And, like, I understand grief. And I know everyone goes through grief as well when they lose someone, especially their son.
Right.
I don't know how this would persuade Amos to let them do it. "I know what it's like to be a spare. Your son didn't deserve to be killed, Mr. Diggory. We can help you get him back." And I feel when you lose your son in war, your son or daughter in war, and it may be because we're muggles and there is no way to get them back, I feel that is sad, but also you could feel honor in that.
Right.
You know, like, Amos is literally saying, let's change the course of history. Fuck everyone else and everyone that this war has changed their lives of. Like, who knows what could have happened if you save your son?
Right.
You know, Harry could have been killed because he technically, yes, he was a, quote, spare, but he was a distraction.
Right.
As well. Yes, he was killed as soon as they came out, but who to say it wouldn't have been Harry that was killed right away? We don't know that.
I was going to say, I don't know why I haven't talked about this before, but speaking in terms of, like, this book or this play defying what the Harry Potter novels do, can we just talk quickly about how time works in Harry Potter?
Sure.
In Prisoner of Azkaban, how it works is that when you don't change time, you can affect things, but if you go back in time and you change something, that means that in the future it was already changed. So, so for example, in the movie, because the movie does it pretty well, where they're in Hagrid's hut and suddenly a stone hits the vase and the vase breaks open.
Yeah.
That was Hermione going back in time, throwing that stone and it hitting the vase. It was going to happen no matter what. Time is a circle. Like,
okay, we're going to go into debates about this then, because not necessarily.
Well, no, that's literally how it works though in the book. That is literally how it is.
But if she never got the time turner to begin with,
then it wouldn't have happened. That's what I'm saying. Then that would have changed time as well. If she had never gotten the time turner, then of
Buckbeak
course
would have died.
Right.
Yes.
But she did get the time turner, and time is just like it knows what's going to happen. Like whatever happens is already set basically, and it's saying that what happens now could it's confusing. It's just like a circle. Like whatever happens has already happened. You're going back in time to literally do what has happened. So like Harry saves himself from the Dementors. Yeah. It's him that he sees.
His argument was that he knew he could do it because he has already done it.
Yeah.
I never agreed with the time in Harry Potter because there's so many theories realistic theories when it comes to time. The circle theory is one of them.
Yeah. But
also that it's linear. Then never circles back, and every time that you break the time, that's why they say time travel will never exist. Yeah, because as soon as you travel, you break it, and it splinters everywhere.
Right.
And who knows if has already splintered, and then it comes into the multidimensional theories and all that type of stuff, and it's very complicated. So are you saying because it is defined in the book as it definitely being the circle theory, that it can't be anything else?
Do you mean in general or in Harry Potter? I'm
talking about in Harry Potter.
I would say yes. I would say if that's how it's established, then that's because there's so many different directions I guess you can go in with time. And I feel like with time travel, because there's so many, I guess, areas you could go into the way you want time travel to work. And I feel like because it's such a weird, wonky thing, Harry Potter's not a perfect book, obviously, book series, but like the way she sets it up, I personally think is pretty darn good because there's not many holes to poke through that concept to me.
See,
I don't know if I like it, but
I think that their actions would affect things. I don't think it is set in stone, because if it were set in stone, they wouldn't have so many laws saying you can't affect anything.
Well, I think that's true.
That'd be my argument. Because it wouldn't matter, because the reason why you shouldn't see yourself is because you'll go insane.
Well, right. I'm thinking in my head when you say that, I'm thinking like that's a fault of J.K. Rowling. Like,
which part?
Meaning, like, you're right. Like, if time travel was set in stone, like she presents it, then why do they have laws and these things where, no, you can't see yourself or you can't use this or that?
Yeah.
Well, she didn't think of that.
Yeah. Because in the theory, well, okay, so if we accept that as true, then Hermione figured out the law of time. That's the argument then. She figured out the law of time, and
brightest witch of her age.
at 15 or at how 13.
Yeah.
So she figured out one of the most complex things when it comes to the universe at the age of 13, and knows exactly how to break it in order to. Yeah. So I
know.
I disagree with you.
Yeah.
So
it's I speak only from what the book presents.
From what the book presents,
and I think the book presents something very solid and something that I think is very tangible. However, time is just
flawed.
It's just there's stuff that's messed. That's why J.K. Rowling stopped using it.
Yeah,
because
it's complicated. That's why people agonize it when they write sci-fi.
Yeah,
because it has to be backed by science,
right? And the problem for me, especially with this, is that now suddenly it's this is the 8th Harry Potter book, yet the Harry Potter books specifically set it up where time is
Malleable.
as is. Yeah, it's not going to change. Where this book sets up time as something very different. It's there's different timelines, and I mean we'll get into that, but it's just very
I agree
messy.
that they both work differently.
Yeah.
The time.
Yeah.
And it is messy, and I don't like it. And I don't like the idea of them going back in time to start with.
I agree with you. Yeah, I don't like that either.
Because if Cedric didn't die, they didn't have a poster boy.
Right. Oh my god.
For the war.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I also commented that Scorpius is the voice of reason because, like,
We do? Are we?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
And we get the tension between Delphi and Albus. She
Bound
smiles
away.
at Albus. He smiles back.
Oh man.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sexual tension.
Do you understand that even getting the time turner will risk your life? We do.
We do.
We're ready to put our lives at risks. I hope you have it in you. This is why aren't the adults doing it? Why aren't the adults doing it?
Okay, and I know
Why aren't the adults doing it?
I feel like there are going to be people listening and be like, well, this happens in Harry Potter. Look, I know.
I said that in Harry Potter too. Why aren't the adults doing it?
Yeah, so we get it, okay? We know. We're self-aware enough to know that. But at least in Harry Potter, it covers it up better.
Yeah, it makes more sense in Harry
Yeah.
Potter because you have these juveniles that have the resources.
Right, exactly.
Albus and Severus don't have the resources for this, and they don't have the brains.
I was about to say,
Because the trio had Hermione, and they don't have anyone.
they don't got a Hermione in their group. They just got a Harry and Ron, and they're not even
Exactly.
as cool as them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Scorpius is cool, but not as cool as Harry and Ron.
No.
Just saying. Throwing shade.
Scorpius is like a mix between Neville and I would say Cho.
Okay. Interesting.
Because like he's got the sweetness of like Neville, but he's smart enough. Like I didn't want to say Luna because Luna's a little too loopy to be Severus.
Yeah, definitely.
But not Severus.
Scorpius. I was thinking in my head, yeah.
But Scorpius is quote smart and logical.
Right.
And I say that in quotes
Yeah.
because there's something coming up that I
Yes.
wanted to point out.
I think I know what it is.
About the potions? Yep. Okay.
I
So,
read that and I was like, what?
Yeah. That's how I am seeing Scorpius. But
Yeah.
they're dum-dums.
Yeah.
And I
just a
don't
little.
like Delphi at all.
I don't like Delphi either.
Are they trying to make Delphi like Tonks?
She definitely has a Tonks vibe,
Yeah.
but God, don't do that. Yeah.
Don't besmirch
Yeah.
her memory. Is that the right word? Besmirch?
I think so.
Nice.
Nice. It's like, yes. Makes me think of Napoleon Dynamite. Yes.
Tina. It was.
He's like, Tina, come get some food.
Tina, come get some food.
He's like,
Eat
Tina,
your hash browns.
yeah.
Whatever.
Eat the food.
Eat the food, Tina.
He like throws it down. He's like, eat the food.
You know, I see that you drink 2%, and if you think it's because you're fat, you're not, and you can totally drink whole milk. Thanks.
I love that movie so much.
Hate that.
Really?
I despise it.
You know, it's funny because I'd have to rewatch it because it's been a while, but like I've watched it before, and honestly, there's so many like little intricacies in it that make me like think this is so purposely awkward, and I love it. And the only part I don't like is when he's freaking like in the chicken coop thing, like where he's working with the chickens and they like drink eggs and eat. Ugh, it's just so gross.
I haven't seen it in forever. I just know that we watched it constantly in like
So did
middle
we.
school, and I despise it. Finding Nemo, we did the same thing, but I like Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Finding Nemo, it's a fun ride. I enjoy Finding Nemo. You're just like, you weren't here
I
to
thought
see
you
it.
were making a reference to them like riding on the turtle's back, but then I realized you weren't, so I just made a face for no reason.
You're just like, oh, her eyes got big. Like, she's seen the light. All right. On to Act 1, Scene 15.
Correct. Harry and Jenny's Potter house. Jenny. I did this last time too. Harry and Ginny Potter's house kitchen. Harry and an awkward conversation.
Yes, indeed. My first note for this was, so no one's told them yet that Albus is missing.
Yeah.
Like, I know at the end they tell him, but I was like, it's been this long.
So the trio and Ginny are all sitting and eating together, and they're discussing everything that just happened at the ministry.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Talking about how Astoria? His
Draco's
wife.
wife. Yes, I would say Astoria,
and how like she passed and Ginny reached out to Draco.
Yeah.
So
This is interesting though, because they're saying like how when Draco wrote back to her, he was like, tell your husband to clear my son's name.
yeah.
And then Hermione says he's obsessed. And I'm like, but
yeah, that makes sense. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks that his son's the son of Voldemort.
yeah, like
And also, this is still going on because before we saw Harry had said, don't worry about the allegations, they'll be cleared up. This is years later now.
right, yeah.
And
that's
they're
right.
still going on.
Yeah.
So he's obsessed. He's a mess, a grieving mess,
Yeah.
says Ginny.
It's so weird to me that like these characters that I feel like have a lot of empathy are being so not empathetical or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially this part with Ron. I hate
Yeah,
fucking Ron in this.
me too.
Like, I'm sorry for his loss, but when he accuses Hermione of, well, he looks across at Harry, droopy drawers. Like I say to her all the time, it could be nothing.
What is that?
That's so awkward.
I don't get that at all. Like,
Yeah.
is he talking to Harry? Like,
And then Hermione goes, her? Like,
yeah, what?
I'm very confused at this whole passage.
I am too. I don't get it. It's very awkward.
Yeah.
I actually wrote 66 through 68, which is the whole thing. Convo is just really awkwardly written. Like everything goes like from sentence to sentence. Like I don't like the sentence you just read. I don't get that, and it jumps like to conversations that I don't get how we made it there, and it's just.
I think it's supposed to set up they're having this conversation and we're plopping it in the middle of it.
Yeah. Sure.
But it doesn't make much sense because they're going from the conversation about Draco, how they feel bad about his wife passing, to then a Scorpius lineage, to then Ron turning it, talking about the trolls and the giants moving and the werewolves going all about and how it could be nothing.
Right.
And then Harry, you're just getting old.
Yeah, and then they have like this weird back and forth of Ginny and Ron where they're kind of like making fun of each other and how they're afraid of Mrs. Weasley.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's just so forced and awkward.
And this one, Ron, I consider it you talk a lot of rubbish, Ron. I consider it my specialty. That and my range of skiving snack boxes.
I think that's how you say it, yeah.
Skiving snack boxes. And my love for all of you, even skinny Ginny.
What the hell?
Okay.
Like, what?
Why does that have to be written at all?
Yeah, that was never, whatever, I'm not even going to say.
It's never been a nickname for her.
This book, that's how I feel, that noise.
And why are they so scared of Mom?
Yeah, exactly. Who never makes it.
If you don't behave, Ronald Weasley. If my little brother said that to me, because Ginny's younger than Ron, and if my Dylan turned to him and goes, if you don't behave, Brittany Harbison, like,
I'm going to tell Mom.
I'm going to tell Mom. Like, okay, go ahead. I'm 27 years old.
Yeah.
Tell Mom. Like, and they're older in this than 27.
Yeah. The only line I liked from this was the one we kind of mentioned earlier where Hermione says, Harry, I will not be Cornelius Fudge on this one. I will not stick my head in the sand, and I don't care how unpopular that makes me with Draco Malfoy. Like,
Yeah.
I really appreciated that line, even though I think this whole thing is very weird and awkward. I like that we get this glimpse of Hermione.
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
And this, they go to hit each other.
Yeah.
Ron goes to hit, Hermione goes, not Ron.
Yeah.
Hermione goes to hit Ron. She misses. Then Ginny hits Ron, and he winces. And then they get the owl.
Yes.
From Professor McGonagall saying that Albus and Scorpius are gone. They're missing.
And I wrote, finally. Like, it's about time you found out. Like, come on now. So, I feel like, I'm assuming, because they live in a wizard house, they have the Flu Network. So, like, I don't know, maybe instead of sending an owl, somebody could have just come and said, hey, your son's not here.
Yeah, especially if they do it the same way Sirius talked to the kids.
Yeah.
Like, just stuck your head in the fire.
Right.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
That makes a lot more sense.
Or if they're at the ministry, okay, if they're not at home and they're at, but, well, I guess Ginny's at the ministry, but just, I feel like they have offices. Like, I feel like there's like a way to contact them. Like, I don't know. But, yeah. So, that's about it.
Scene.
End scene. Oh, yeah.
Do we get the lingo? We have the lingo. We're good at this.
All right, Act 1, Scene 16.
Whitehall, cellar.
You don't have a sentence.
I don't have a sentence,
Brittany.
I don't even remember what happens.
Are you freaking kidding me?
In this.
Neither do I. I should. Oh, it's the one where they take the polyjuice potion.
Oh, okay. First of all, where's Whitehall?
You got me. Like,
are we? I there's no reference. I have no idea where Whitehall.
I mean, I know
is.
there's a Whitehall pretty close. Like, I think it's in New York, but they're not in New York. They're in London. So
there's a Whitehall in near Allentown.
Again, another one. Yeah,
in Pennsylvania. No, not there.
No.
So okay, this is where I had an issue, and I winked about 2 scenes ago.
Yeah.
Albus says, Scorpius, do I really need to explain to you, uber geek and potions expert, what polyjuice does? Because Scorpius is squinting at a bottle and is like, so we just take it?
Right.
So, okay, so A, that's my first issue. B, Delphi brewed it.
Right, yeah.
And it takes many moons to brew this.
Right.
Okay. 3, where did they get the DNA?
Yes.
Of the trio?
Good question.
So that's 3. That's the fourth one I had. I think the fourth one was just the fact that if Scorpius is so smart with polyjuice potions, like with potions, they cover polyjuice in what?
Right.
Year 1?
I would imagine it's, well, I don't know.
Chamber of Secrets is 1.
Well, they don't learn about it. They look it up themselves.
Okay.
But I'm trying to
it was
think.
in the restricted area, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, it might. Yeah, I think it is because I think Hermione goes to Gilderoy Lockhart and gets him to sign a note.
Okay.
So I think, but still, I feel like even though they didn't know about it,
Year 2, rather.
I feel like, okay, feel like this could be an argument that could be made. Harry wasn't raised in the wizarding world, neither was Hermione. Ron, I would just say, is not always the most observant person in the world, so maybe he didn't know about it. And then they find out about it because Hermione's just very smart, and she knew what to, like, she went through the books and found it. But I feel like if they know so much about the history of Harry Potter and how he met met his friends on the train, his scar hurts all the time, like when Voldemort's around, then couldn't we say that they know that they use polyjuice potions?
Especially because Hermione turned into a cat.
Right.
Like, that is
Pretty big
gossip
deal.
around the school.
Yeah.
And when they came back, they had to have known it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
And Draco uses polyjuice potion. When Crabbe and Goyle,
that's
Goyle
right,
are
yeah.
outside the room of requirements
That's
when
right.
he's fixing up the vanishing cabinet.
right.
So
Yeah.
even he knows what it is.
Right.
And
It's just,
has learned to brew it.
Yeah, and I love how we get like the explanation of what it is, like just in case the audience doesn't know. You know,
And it tastes like fish, apparently.
that
Which doesn't make sense because it's supposed to taste
it's supposed to taste different. Yeah.
and smell different and look different. Again, where did they get the fucking DNA?
Yeah, and one thing I think is when they actually get to like go into the ministry and they type the code and it says, "Hello, Hermione Granger, Harry Potter, and Ron Weasley." I feel like the ministry, considering that Hermione is the minister of magic, that they would have some kind of security thing to check if there was Polyjuice Potion being used. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah. Especially because they broke into the ministry.
Right. Exactly.
Under that guise.
Yeah.
Twice.
Right. Well, they broke into
I'm thinking of Gringotts.
Yeah,
when she was Bellatrix.
Yeah. But they still, but you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Hermione, I know Hermione is smart enough to know that Hermione's always one step of the game.
But don't forget, she locked her door with a little more, whatever generic locking.
Yep. Because Hermione, we're told, just like Belle, we're told that Belle and Hermione are very smart, but then when it comes to actually applying the practical side of that, we don't actually see that they're smart.
Dum-dums.
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 So, yeah. I don't have any other notes. What about you?
I don't know. I put wink on this because Scorpius. So, Scorpius turns into Harry. Albus into Ron, and Delphi into Hermione.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I put this, but I'm going to read it. Scorpius. No way, Jose. If we're doing this, we're doing it. He puts on a pair of familiar-looking glasses with a smile. Together. And I put wink. I guess to that gay baiting that we're talking about before.
Definitely, yeah.
So I think that's why I did that.
I feel like we should try to list every thing.
I underlined a few of them.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, just to stress it.
Yeah, because I've written notes, but you're able to write in your book, and I'm not. So maybe
Sorry.
I'll put. Not fair. Just kidding.
Fair.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So they change, and the plan is to infiltrate the ministry.
Yes.
And get the Time Turner, which they don't know where it is.
No, we'll get to that.
And they also, and I remember what my fourth issue was.
Okay.
So does Delphi just constantly have a batch of Polyjuice Potions she's always brewing? Because how did she anticipate this? Unless this whole time they've been missing. Which would make more sense, but that means they've been gone for a month? Maybe 2?
I think it takes 2 months to brew it.
Yeah, so they've been gone for 2 months at this point?
And that would not make sense at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense because of what Ginny does later on.
Yeah, it's just nothing matches up.
Yeah.
And also,
bad time.
Bad time. It's just annoying. I don't know. Was Delphi just waiting to find lurk up on an innocent child to get her to help them?
Then she is much more devious than I would think.
Apparently. Yeah. But
all right, so that was the end of that scene.
Yep. On to Act 1, Scene 17.
Ministry of Magic. Meeting room.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And Harry Potter, the Constant Curse. Oh, yes, the Constant Curse. There's a reason why I did that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let me actually find, there's a stage direction that I particularly loved in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to find it.
So let me set the scene while you're...
Sure, you go ahead.
It's Harry, Hermione, Ginny, and Draco pacing around in the meeting room.
Yes. And I'll say mine. Actually, we can go into it now. I'll say mine because it's on the last page.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when Draco is upset and he says, "My son is missing." And Ginny roars back at him, "So is mine." And then the stage direction is he meets her look. There's real emotion in this room. And I'm like, I feel like you could just have not said that and just, the dialogue did its job. But, apparently you're just not that good of a writer to let the dialogue do its freaking job. Okay?
Did you notice the one right above it, too?
No. Wait, let me see.
It's same page.
Okay.
Right after Harry speaks.
Oh.
And I told him that there were times when I wished he wasn't my son. Did you feel that? Was that a powerful silence?
That was really powerful.
There's another silence, a profound, powerful one. And then Draco takes a dangerous step towards Harry.
Dangerous.
My son is... No.
No, you know, it's funny because these stage directions, as you know, because I've been outlining a lot today, they're not unlike how I outline something that I'm writing, but I feel like that's an outline and it's my own notes, and I'm not actually going to write that.
Well, this is a draft too, isn't it?
It is
I
a
thought
draft.
We talked about that.
It is a draft. So that's true. But still, this is a draft. Mine wasn't a draft, it's an outline.
But it's also not a book.
Well, it's not a novel.
Not a novel.
Yeah. True.
So
I don't excuse it.
I don't excuse it. So it
yeah.
will read more like an outline.
Yeah.
Because plays are sequential events up to interpretation of the
You're-
director.
You're right. I still don't think, though. Look, come on. Where I gotta find it again.
I think it's funny the adjectives that they use because they don't need to have
Exactly. Yeah.
a dangerous step towards Harry. Shouldn't that really be up to the actor and director?
Right. Well, that's what they were talking about on Witch Please, actually, because they're saying where does it begin, between what the actors can do versus what the playwright expects and stuff like that. That's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have much to say. Yeah, I don't know if you wrote more than me.
This one's a little sad. With Draco, lip curling, every inch his father.
Yeah. Ooh. That's nice.
If you need gold, anything the Malfoys have, he is my sole heir. He's my only family. That's good.
Yeah, and I really like the last line too, where he's like, I don't care what you did or who you saved. You are a constant curse on my family, Harry Potter.
Boom. There it is. Harry Potter, the constant curse.
Now, could we just speculate real quick? Mm-hmm. At this point in the play, who do you think the cursed child is? Because I think, just real quick without spoilers, by the end of it, I personally think there is a definitive answer. However, I still think that it is up to interpretation.
I would say that it's Scorpius.
Okay.
Only because he's continuously getting the shit end of the stick.
Okay.
I don't think Albus is cursed.
No.
Because he's just a whiny brat.
He's a whiny little bitch. That's what he is. It's true.
Technically, Delphi's not a child.
Right.
You could say Cedric. Cedric's a good argument. Because he was cursed from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I imagine he's still dead at the end of this. So, cursed if he was, cursed if he wasn't.
I would argue maybe, I know what you kind of just said Delphi, she's not a child, but I was going to argue for Harry, even maybe because the cursed child, that he will never escape this fame set upon him that just affects his family. I don't think I'm right though, but I'm just saying that.
Well, that would make sense with the titling as well, because Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Well, no, it wouldn't.
Well, and then maybe that would lead Albus, but again, I don't agree with that. Because like you said, he's just a whiny baby. He's not cursed.
There's nothing that happened to him that he didn't put onto himself.
Right. He might feel cursed, but that's not what the title or the play implies.
It's his perspective.
I guess it kind of, yeah.
No, I don't agree with that because it's his perspective.
Yeah.
He has the same mentality, which is why he belongs in fucking Slytherin. Which, there's nothing wrong with being in Slytherin.
Right.
But that's why he belongs in Slytherin. He has the same mentality as Voldemort.
Yeah.
It's all the I didn't grow up how I wanted to grow up. My father's not who I wanted him to be. Ooh. Pity me. I am always going to be the butt of everything.
That's interesting that we're making that comparison right now. Mm-hmm. I know we talked about this a little bit before, but how Harry had so many similarities to Voldemort, but or Tom Riddle, whatever, and how Albus has some similarities too, but they're so complete polar opposites from who Harry was, because they are very different people. So that's interesting.
And I think Harry's similarities to Voldemort are more because he had a piece of him inside of him.
Yeah, and I think, not just that, but the fact that they were both orphans and both
I think there are more shallow similarities.
Yeah.
The one with Albus and Voldemort are more internal similarities.
I don't know. I think Harry's pretty internal. Like, cause he would have belonged. I mean, I guess the parcel tongue thing, that's pretty much Voldemort inside you. But like, I don't like how I just said that. Sorry.
I have to stop laughing into this microphone because everything goes fuzzy in my ears. I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be awful to edit.
That's okay. I'm trying to think of what, like,
I can't think of any personality traits out there that they share.
I'm trying to think. I know it's on the tip of my tongue. When he I guess because they both came from broken homes, they both look at Hogwarts as a home. Like, they do have like
sanctuary.
Yeah, like, so that is, I feel, internal and very ingrained. However, like you said, he has a very big difference from Voldemort in that he never that he chose Gryffindor versus Slytherin. The good guys versus the bad guys. You know, we know we don't agree with that statement, but and all, like, he makes it's their choices that matter. Where with Albus, I see what you're saying. Like, how with Albus, it's like it's still internal, but it seems like a very selfish internal.
Oh yeah,
which I know you probably
because Voldemort and Albus are incredibly selfish. Incredibly selfish.
Which I guess, and Harry's definitely not selfish, but I would argue, and I think Voldemort is also, what I'm about to say, very self-involved. Like, Harry, so often he just thinks it's about him.
Yes.
And most, I mean, it is a lot of the time. So, but at the same time, like,
he doesn't think for 1 second that it could be Neville.
Right,
which
exactly.
it is.
Right.
Neville technically is the hero.
I know.
I will argue with that until the day I die.
I would love to read a fan fiction where it writes that maybe Voldemort chose Neville instead.
Oh, that poor boy, though.
But that would be really interesting to me. Yeah. But I mean, we would definitely not have the same story. That'd be very interesting.
All right, so they come here, and okay, my other thing that I was going to say is, they're underage, so why don't they have the trace on them?
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah, it's not when you just use magic.
Yeah, because they would,
you would still know where they are.
Right.
And you know if they used magic, so they still have the trace on them because they're only 14.
And they're in the middle of they're literally in the middle of nowhere when they jump off the Hogwarts Express. So, like, underage magic, because that's apparently how the trace works. The trace is like, it senses you're underage, that somebody did magic.
Yeah, it senses when they do magic, but you only get in trouble with it when it's around Muggles, because Hermione uses it to fix Harry's glasses at one point.
I think that's a movie thing.
Oh, really? I thought she did it.
She might do it on the train, but I think on the train they're allowed to do it.
Yeah. Well, regardless.
Which maybe that's the reason, but like they do it.
Regardless, you can still find them, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you need to know who all the magic children are,
right,
in order to send them their letters.
Yeah. So
you can feel their presence. So where the fuck is the trace on these 2 kids?
Well, apparently it doesn't matter.
Nope. Okay, that was my other thing. Sorry.
No, I agree with the
plot holes. All right. So anything else for scene 17?
No, not for me.
All right, Act 1, Scene 18. We're almost there.
Almost there.
Ministry of Magic corridor. We have the three of them in their Polyjuice form. So Harry, Hermione, and Ron, which is confusing. Are they just going to bring in the actors that play those roles?
So that's what I'm wondering.
There's no stage direction on that.
Yeah, that's the weird part. There's stage direction for things that, like, okay, like you think the actors could do, and now when we actually need it, it's not there. But yeah. So my first question is I forget who says this. I guess, hold on, let me just check. One of them says that they heard, I guess it's Albus, who overhears that, like, Hermione told one of her officials where she was putting the time turner. Where? Oh, that's on page 70. Oh, no, it's on 75.
75.
So let me see. Oh, okay.
It was my uncle's idea.
Yeah, it was Delphi. Okay. So, to use Veritaserum, we slipped it into the visiting ministry official's drink. He told us that the time turner had been kept and even told us where, the office of the Minister of Magic herself. So my question is, again, Hermione, why are you telling this visiting ministry official or random ministry official? I feel like that's something you should probably tell no one. Except, like, he can't even be named.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's somebody that's not important. Why are you telling him this?
Also,
Yeah.
what they did was illegal because you can't use that potion, the truth potion.
Right. Yeah.
So they committed a crime to find this information. Just so you
Maybe
remember.
this should make us suspicious of Delphi.
Yeah,
Definitely.
maybe.
Keep an eye out.
I don't like her to begin with
I don't either.
because they already slipped this random official. Which how did they talk to Amos to begin with?
Again, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So she slipped him this potion.
Yeah.
They found secrets, and she already has this polyjuice potion brewing, which again is a restricted magic.
She's waiting for those kids.
She's waiting for those kids to bone them.
Oh, God.
Ew.
And so they come upon Hermione's office, and what do you know? But it opens with Alohomora.
Wait, hold on. We didn't get
I
there
know
yet.
we didn't.
No, because they hear Hermione
my bad, that's
and
right.
Harry off in the distance.
That's right. I
And they're
forgot.
like, oh no. So they go into hiding and they push Albus to go cut him off.
Right. Well, they go into the office after they say Alohomora. They go in the
Yes.
office except him. And yeah, you're right.
No, they didn't go into the office yet. They're discussing
No, yeah. Because it
to
says
go.
the Harry and Hermione are off somewhere talking.
Okay, down. Okay, I was at the bottom of
okay.
75. You're in the middle of 76.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
Yeah. On 76, yeah. In case anybody's wondering.
Mm-hmm,
76. And then, so Albus, like we said, is Ron, and he stays out there to distract Hermione from going into her office. And this is,
Awkward.
yeah. It's,
Yeah.
I'd say so. This is...
So how does Albus in the form of Ron stop Hermione from going into her own office?
Well, let me tell you. He gives her a nice big smooch.
Yep.
And then, before that, I believe, he talks about going on vacation or having more children.
And bucks his hips at her.
Yep. Oh, yeah. He moves those hips. And I hate when this happens in fiction where, let me see if I can find the quote. So Hermione's talking to Harry about what he said to Albus. And then Albus says, as Ron, oh, you're talking about how Harry said sometimes he wished Albus weren't his son.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like we live in the wizarding world. We know there's Polyjuice Potion. Hermione would look and be like,
what
the fuck are you?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
you know, just come on. Be better than this. And, yeah. So, and then Hermione after a lot of her walking in and out of the scene, she finally leaves.
Which is so annoying.
I know.
I don't get it. Like, what was in her office that she wanted, then decided she didn't need, to then come back, and then to leave?
And the thing is, I guess the argument could be made that, like, he's her husband, so why would she be suspicious of him? But why, like...
Yeah. And also, she doesn't want to kiss Ron at the moment.
Right.
Because it goes, she tries to get into her office one final time. He blocks her with a kiss. It develops into quite a struggle.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
No, thank you. Mm-mm.
It played off for comedy, but like this is another this scene in particular contains a lot of tropey things that I don't like
it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Did you already read your one sentence summary?
Oh, no. Albus Potter and the moment when you kiss your aunt.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she calls him out on it. She's like, you taste like fish.
Yeah, that's right, which is like such a weird...
Yeah. Ew.
Yeah. So I guess Ron, obviously in this version of Harry Potter, everybody tastes like fish. I was gonna say like Ron tastes like fish, but no, all of them do.
They all do. Gross.
So moving on to our final scene.
Act 1, Scene 19. Ministry of Magic, Hermione's office.
Okay, this is when shit gets stupid.
Yes. So the one sentence summary is Albus Potter and the worst word games ever. Riddles that make no sense. Reflections of Chamber of Secrets where they are getting them right? Question mark?
That's my favorite one sentence summary of the entire podcast. And you're gonna have to do a lot to one up that. So
okay, I'll try.
Wow.
I hate this chapter.
It's so awful. And again, I know, like, so basically what happens...
The scene, rather, excuse.
Yeah, sorry, the scene. Yeah, calm down. People were yelling at us.
And no one yells at us.
We
don't hear from any of you. Talk
yeah,
to
come
us.
on, guys.
Sad.
We're so lonely. No, this is the scene where they're looking for the time turner, and they end up realizing that it is on Hermione, somewhere in Hermione's bookshelf. And so they have to solve riddles to get to it.
Yes.
And they end up obviously solving the riddle and getting the time turner. And I know some people are going to make the argument, well, like, because we could criticize this and say they're just teenagers. How can they solve, quote unquote, complex riddle? Even though I would argue it's a really bad riddle. And like, they're teenagers. How could they solve this? And people will be like, oh, well, in Harry Potter, you know, they're kids and they solve things. I'm like, yes, but they solve things based on the logical point where they are in that point in time. Like how Harry learns to call his broom to him is by learning Accio or Accio. And you know, there's certain things that happen to them that they have to work towards. And like Hermione in the first book, she solves the riddles about the potions or whatever because she's logical.
And
she's smart. Yeah, and she took time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even Harry, even though the riddle's not that good in the Triwizard Tournament maze, he takes time to figure it out and based on what he knows.
Yeah.
This is just bad. Yeah, so they end up solving all these riddles. They get the book they want, and lo and behold, inside is the time turner. And all I can think is, again, Hermione, the brightest witch of her age, hides something in such a way that 2 14-year-olds and however the hell old Delphi is 20-something, yeah, figure this out and get it I mean, the brightest witch of her age, the witch who, as we talked about earlier, had a time turner at 13
and figured out how to work time.
Yeah, and like made Polyjuice Potion at 12 and got to the Philosopher's Stone at 11 with all these logical puzzle things with the potions.
That was a hard one. Snape did really well doing that.
Seriously. I mean, Hermione Granger is like a god among men. And you're telling me that she didn't design a system that would be like, I guess, a code that could be cracked this easily.
Yeah. Like
with riddles that suck.
They do bite really badly. Which book was the time turner in?
Holding.
Your Shadows and Spirits. It must be. He climbs the bookcase.
Okay.
So Shadows and Spirits is the one, which is a Nightshade Guide to Necromancy. That's what it was. I was trying to see if all of the riddles pertain to the last book, but they don't.
Oh,
that's why I was searching for it. Because it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
That it will continuously attack you until you get to the last book. Sorry. So yeah, they find the time turner.
Yep, they find it. And that ends Act 1. Unless there's another detail.
Nope.
Okay.
That's it. Just making sure.
You're just like, nope.
The last stage direction. And this is how we end Act 1.
Oh, yeah.
Whispers rise to a roar, and we cut to black. Boom. So that's it.
Just going to shut this book. Ready? We finish.
Done.
So that's the end of Act 1. And, well.
How do you feel about Act 1 so far, Danielle?
Well, let me tell you, Brittany. Let me tell you. I think Act 1 is a terrible introduction. Okay. Speaking, I want to stress this, and I know you're stressing this as well, that we come to this book with nostalgic feelings, but we're kind of putting nostalgia aside.
Yes.
And we are looking at this book and this play for what it is, being a Harry Potter play, because we talked about this off. Yeah. We kind of are, I don't know if we came to this conclusion, but we kind of discussed the idea that it's very difficult to separate this from Harry Potter, being that it's in the title, it's the 8th Harry Potter book. How can you look at this play without connecting it to Harry Potter?
Yeah.
And when you connect it to Harry Potter, there's just a lot of flaws.
Glaring flaws.
Yeah, just so obvious. Things that could easily be fixed. And the thing is, you could say, oh, it's a draft. But, like, this is not just because it's a draft. Like, these are core things in the play that, did they change it, like, at the end? This whole plot?
It had to be a complete rewrite.
Yeah, so it's just, to me, I say a poor introduction. Even if it wasn't Harry Potter, the characters are all very muddled. They don't have very clear motives. And when they do, their motives are really dumb. And they're not characters I feel compelled to read.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I can't relate to any of these characters except Scorpius. I feel that every character that we've known from the series are complete. They've deviated from their original characters. They don't sound like themselves.
Yeah.
And when you're putting on a play that is an extension of the book series, I think that is very vital. I think you had to be able to sit down and be like, okay, yes, I could see Harry saying that. I could see Hermione saying that. I could see Ron and Ginny saying that. And I don't feel that I want to feel nostalgia. And it's not because that I am so dedicated to the series. It's because that's what's supposed to happen in this.
Right.
You're supposed to get that feeling of coming back to Hogwarts.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't have that. Every book I picked up in this series, I was fulfilled in my feelings of what I wanted. I don't get that from this, and that is what I feel is very important.
Yeah, and to be clear, I think a lot of people, when they come to hearing people judge a book, and when I say we're not using nostalgia to judge this, I actually should stress, because you just made a good point, that nostalgia is not a bad thing to feel.
Yeah.
Like, if this felt nostalgic, that would mean that the author did their job.
Yeah.
So
you could hear the voices of the characters.
Yeah, and I would make the argument, I know we kind of talked about this in our first episode, but people are calling this like glorified fan fiction. And I think that's why it is being labeled that, because I think this is where I struggle a lot, especially when it comes to fan fiction, which I've never written because I struggle with this. Creating the voice of a character that already has a voice. Yeah. Recreating that is a challenge to do. And I think, obviously, because fan fiction is something that you can just do, a lot of people just do it and they don't capture it. Some do, but a lot of people don't. Yeah. And I think that's why maybe this is also being labeled fan fiction. Technically, it is fan fiction. It's not written by the author. It's just published. Yeah. So fan fiction authors out there, don't give up. Because seriously... You can write better than this. We know it.
Honestly, I've read so much better fan fiction than this. And people who are able to create that sense of nostalgia that I'm looking for. And there are people who don't. Like, it's just a fun story. Right. And it's easier to imagine with them because you already know these characters.
Right. And I was also going to say with fan fiction, what you just said, it's just a fun story. If you just wrote a fun story online, regardless of how inconsistent of it is, it's still just online. This is a published work that has been enforced by the author. Yep. And that's where my problem. Yeah.
That's an issue because you're losing everything that was quintessential in the first series.
It's why it's one of the reasons of many that I just don't like J.K. Rowling that much. I feel almost hypocritical to say that. Because I forget, actually it might have been Tatiana, who I was talking to, when we were talking, and she was like, well, like, you say that J.K. or that the Harry Potter books are your favorite books, so why are you saying that you don't like the author? I'm like, well, it's a complex thing to talk about, to be honest, because I never viewed her as my favorite author, even though those books were favorites. the more and more I know more about, like, the more I learn about her, especially how she's been of recent, the more I dislike her.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the reasons.
Yeah. I don't like this.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I wanted so badly to like it.
So, just a reminder, folks, that even though it's early in the season, we do have our poll going on.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so be sure to go ahead and vote on that for the book we'll read in season 3. And then whatever comes in second, I believe, did we discuss this?
We'll put it on another poll.
Right.
Not necessarily
okay. Right.
read it next, but
Gotcha.
it'll have another appearance.
Okay, good. Yeah, I forgot about that, so thank you.
You're welcome.
See, this is why we bounce off each other.
We're such a good match.
But yeah, so whatever comes in second, we'll put it on the next poll, so you can vote for that book again if you like it and want us to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely vote in that poll. Like, I know it's early, but we do it in advance because, we record these much earlier. We have to remind them of our website, Brittany.
BaBaT. It is 9:45. All right.
Yeah.
This has been Books as Bad as Twilight. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Spotify. Not Spotify.
No.
And all your podcast listening devices and applications. You could also talk to us by Gmail. We have a thing on our website, BaBatpodcast.com, where you can leave us a voicemail. So we would love to hear all of your beautiful voices. Don't forget that today we are sponsored by Audible, where you can find over 180,000 titles and programs and courses that is free and available to you for 30 days and 30 nights.
Nice. That was an experience.
And a free audio book. This has been Brittany.
Oh, man.
And Danielle?
What?
Do you want to say this has been Danielle?
Oh, yeah. And this has been Danielle. And I am Batman. I feel like there's something else we have to say. All right, we're just going to end it.
Yeah, everything's on our website and
Yeah.
our show notes. Just go check us out. Bye.
Bye.